Hi folks, this is Scott, son of a hillbilly here, and people are wondering, why in the world do I call myself a son of a hillbilly? Well, that's because I literally am a son of a hillbilly. My father's Clyde E. Jackson, and he grew up in the backwoods of Tennessee, and we're talking backwoods big time. He grew up on a dirt floor, and I tell you, I have so much respect for my father. He was an outdoorsman. He raised a family of 6. I mean, he's done so many different things in his life, and unfortunately, he's passed away. But I definitely want to remember him very much. He grew up around in Camden, Waverly, Tennessee, in an area around New Johnsonville. He and his brother Jack, Dad was the oldest of the two. Then I believe that's the way it is. But you know, with my Uncle Jack, he and Uncle Jack did a lot of hunting and fishing in the area. My grandpa, who I had the privilege of meeting and spending quite a bit of time with, until he went on. He taught my father tons of stuff. But my father learned a lot of it the hard way, being out in the woods, being out there fishing, hunting, being able to track, being able to know what areas to look at. He was the adamant hillbilly. I mean, I believe my grandpa even had a still back there in those woods. So we're talking hillbilly. My Uncle Jack's son, Trent, is part of that hillbilly hand fishing. So we're all a bit of hillbillies ourselves. So I call myself a son of a hillbilly. And the reason I call myself a son of a hillbilly is not only am I son of my father, I believe in a lot of the ways of the hillbillies, you know, getting to the backwoods, getting back to nature. But being a son of a hillbilly, I'm also a little progressive as well. And when I say progressive, what I mean is I'll use more modern techniques. That's probably a better word. A little more modern than a lot of the hillbilly techniques that are out there. So I've got a different twist on it. I'll take a lot of those hillbilly techniques and see what I can do to add modern equipment to it, modern thinking, just a little more advancement. As you go along in life and things go along in the culture, you learn a bit more. You learn a bit more about the earth. You learn a little bit more about, how to catch things. You learn a little bit more what not to catch, what to do, how to keep things preserved. When I say preserved, I mean the wildlife and nature the way it was. And these are all things that can be, are things that you should really think about. And that's being a son of a hillbilly. Not only do I believe in the old-fashioned ways, but I like to throw a modern twist on everything. So I'll put that modern spin into everything that I do. I really love being in the outdoors, and I love my dad. I want to thank him so much, wherever he's at, for instilling that love in me. As I grew up, I raised all different types of critters. I've had pigeons, I've had pet foxes, pet raccoons, possums, all kinds of stuff. My dad had horses. We had dogs, of course, cats. Oh my gosh. We had all kinds of wildlife and critters. We had quails, ducks, pheasants, geese, we had chickens. We had everything. I mean, I had a lot of experience with all of these critters, all this stuff, and knowing how their thoughts, knowing how they acted and stuff. It's all very helpful. My father had aquariums as well, so I had an aquarium in my bedroom. I remember when I was a teenager, and I actually had bluegills and bass in it. Would go down and feed them worms just to see how they would eat the bait. I would throw lures in there and drag it through. I'd take the hooks off them because I didn't want to hurt my pet fish, but I would see how they reacted to the different lures, whether they'd run away or go for them, and the different ways to present it. Even though it was a 20-gallon tank, it was still very educational. So all this information that I've learned and has been passed down to me and from other mentors that I have, I want to share with you in all these different podcasts that I have. Son of a Hillbilly is a belief and a philosophy. It's definitely taking the old, adding the new, and improving everything. just to be the best that you can be in nature, to be the best that you can be, the best you that you can be, and still enjoying everything that you do. Well, I just wanted to give this little bit of a intro as to Son of a Hillbilly and why I call myself that, why I call the site that. And we're going to get back to the easy ways of doing things. I mean, I go into these sporting goods stores nowadays and I see all these trinkets, all this stuff. And a lot of it's very pricey, and I don't knock these people for creating this stuff. It's one way of following their passion and producing things that they believe in. But I know I don't need a lot of that stuff in order to really catch fish and have a good time. And I'm going to pass on some of that stuff, how to do the real simple basic techniques, and then also how to use some of the modern things as well. We're going to have a little bit of everything. Some of the basics don't change no matter what you're doing. It's just like anything. Just like they say, a master isn't a person that knows 1,000 different things and only does it once or twice. It's a person that knows 10 different things and does them all 1,000 times. The basics. You want the basics in your outdoor adventures. You want your basics for fishing. You want your basics for tracking, hunting, camping. It's all basic stuff. I mean, mankind's been around for millions of years, and we've survived fairly well. A lot of people wouldn't do well in the woods because they haven't experienced what it's like to be in nature. Hopefully, I can pass on some of that information to you as well. We're just going to talk, I'm going to give you an audio podcast. I'm going to give you a video podcast. We're going to give a bit of information. I'm going to try to interview people like me. People that have a passion for fishing, people that have a passion for the outdoors. One of the first interviews I'm going to try to get will be my brother Ron. He is quite an outdoorsman, and you're going to really enjoy that interview when I put it up. I've never seen anybody, besides myself, that is, that can catch fish almost anywhere. I know I see these fishing shows and all these, big name guys out there, which I won't mention any of them, but they're out there catching fish and stuff. Well, we do just as well, and we keep certain types of species for ourselves, and we have a lot of fun doing it, and we don't have to spend tons of money to do it. Oh yeah, it'd be nice to have the big fancy bass boats, it'd be nice to have this and that, but you don't really need them in order to have a great time. And that's what Son of a Hillbilly is. Those poor people back in the hills, they didn't have a lot of stuff. They had a great time doing it. They really loved what they did. They loved being out in the woods. They loved fishing. They loved hunting. They loved making moonshine. They loved doing a lot of stuff. I mean, they were farmers. They were people that used, nature to survive with, as well as what they were doing in their modern world. So, I know I'm rambling, but I wanted to just give you an idea of what Son of a Hillbilly is. And we hope to talk to any of you soon. I'm going to be putting up a phone number that you can leave voicemail messages to. I will also be putting up Twitter accounts where you can send me tweets and stuff. See, I'm a son of a hillbilly. I'm using modern inventions. This camera for one. And that way we can communicate. We can share ideas. And I can answer any questions for you. Well, this is Scott, son of a hillbilly, signing off for this podcast. You folks have a great day and enjoy the great outdoors. We'll see you soon.